Welcome to your ultimate 2021 Week 5 predictions, recap, and otherwise video. This is the Commish, and we're here to take you on a journey. We didn't do the video last week because things were a little bit too crazy at work to sit down and get this done. It's hard to get this video squeezed in between free agency and these annoying Thursday games that are usually of lower quality, but have been actually pretty good so far this year. This week, you're starting to see a lot of injuries creep up on people. I don't think we're in the bye weeks just yet, but those are coming up as well, and it's going to make managing rosters that much more difficult. Here's your standings, though, for our league. No more undefeated teams, no more winless teams. Everyone has done a good job and has worked through keeping things competitive and close. That could continue to separate, though, over the next few weeks. And any of these teams that are 3-1, there are 3 of them, have a chance to start pulling away from the rest of the pack and establishing themselves as the teams to beat. The divisions in general are pretty well balanced, I believe, all things considered, notwithstanding the fact the 11 and 12 team are both in the Central, but that might have something to do with playing against Padawans and the Room, which are 2 of the better teams in the league. Let's take a peek here at our league pick'em. Commish is now 13 and 11, so a little bit better than 50%. If we look back at the last couple of weeks, week 3, the Commish was 4 of 6. And in the previous week, week 4, the Commish was 3 of 3. So Commish, in general, looking back at all the weeks, has done no worse than 50% in the picks, with week 3 being a particularly strong week with 4 correct. We're going to dive into week 5, though, and the predictions for week 5. So let's go ahead and go to our league overview and click into the matchups. Looks like the Commish, aka the Room, has another player with injury problems really starting to mount for the Commish. You can see Montgomery, starting running back, one of the top picks that he made, out. Carson, starting running back, one of the top picks that he made, out. Calvin Ridley, one of the top picks that he made, out. Brown, who is also healthy this week, has been out and very ineffective. Really, really, really harmed roster for the Commish. And you know who he's playing this week? He's playing Chariots. And you know what that means? Welcome to the win. Yes, WttW. This is the matchup, one of 2, I believe, this year, between Walter and the Commish. And you know what that means. Walter is a lock to win. We've already pointed out why. The Commish, all these injuries. Pat Mahomes, he's going to get crushed by Buffalo. There's no hope there. I mean, look at these running backs. McKissick, Sermon, some of these guys on the bench. Herbert, that's not the Herbert that's a quarterback. That's a Herbert that's a running back who plays for the woeful Bears. Pirine, you got to hope Mixon doesn't play for that guy to be in the mix for anything. Gaskin, what happened to the Dolphins? They're terrible. They can't run the ball very well, and Gaskin lost all his gaskets and is stranded along the side of the road. Commish, not a very good-looking team this week. A lot of injuries, a lot of problems with the roster, a lot of fill-in guys. There's no 66-yard field goal to save him from Aaron Rodgers obliterating Cincinnati. Hopkins catching amazing passes and touchdowns. Harris is going to run all over the Broncos. Vic Fangio doesn't know how to defend anything very well in Denver. Kareem Hunt, he's going to kick and scream his way all over the Chargers. Goddard, he's probably going to have a huge game now that Ertz is going to be there to help be a double-team tandem. Anderson, he can't catch anything very well, but this is the week Sam Darnold finds him for 3 touchdowns. Myers, the Jets cut him. Walter didn't like him, but now he's on his team as a Seahawk on a very long field goal streak that I don't know, was it broken last week? Pittsburgh against Denver, they're going to just, they're going to show up and save Big Ben and keep the game close. Walter is going to get over 120 points this week. Give Walter the win. Blowout of the week. Lead pipes. Just it's a beat down all the way around. Moving to our next matchup, a battle of 2-2s. Ditka did it and Holy Charknado. Charknado's had some roster mishaps and underperforming guys and has kind of slipped down for a couple of weeks. Ditka did it. He's kind of hit a couple of buzzsaws in the mix of trying to do well this year. This is a very intriguing matchup though, because you've got Prescott, who should have been played last week over Hurts, but nevertheless he's in this week. Thankfully, they're playing the woeful Giants. If Dallas loses, that's just going to be an absolute shock to the system for maybe how terrible the NFC East may be. Jefferson's been catching up lately. Chase seems to find the end zone every week. Chubb should have no problem running. The Chiefs didn't have all that much trouble running against the Chargers. They just turned it over a ton. Look for Chubb to go crazy. Barkley, he might be the only hope for the Giants offense. We'll see what he can do against Dallas, though. Mo Alley Cox has been showing up lately. Cordarrelle Patterson has finally found a place and a role, and he's got the dangerous capability of being slotted as a wide receiver or running back on this roster. Might actually be an intriguing play, even though I don't necessarily think the player is all that much to write home about, other than, he's a Swiss Army knife that the Falcons have figured out how to succeed with. Expand the benches here. Again, Hurts is on the bench where he probably belongs. If you can't light up Kansas City, even though your team scored quite a few points, you got a lot going for you. The rest of this bench, not all that exciting. Thomas being lost at tight end might hurt a little bit, but the Rams on the bench may be a good idea on a short week on the road. Charknado, Brady had an off week, but Miami stinks. I expect he's going to blow up. Metcalf, he might be limited against the Rams and a short week. I don't necessarily like that. Evans should be a good target. Cook, if he's in, should be good. I don't know why Freeman is on this roster at all. He's clearly not the factor in Baltimore. Tunyon's kind of fallen off the map so far this year. Thielen, good play. Greg the Leg, terrible, though he gets a lot of opportunities because he is on a somewhat competent team. This bench is absolutely mind-boggling. All that to say, let's throw it to Ditka did it. The roster looks right. The matchups look right. And I don't know if Tom Brady's going to be able to do enough on his own to pull this one out for the Charknado. Third matchup. Giants will continue and the Killer Penguins. Killer Penguins won last year. They're not doing so hot this year. Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback after Mac Jones was the guy. And Darryl waited forever to draft a quarterback. It's no real surprise that his team is where it is. Eckler hasn't quite seemed as commanding this year. Robinson's done pretty well. Sutton and Lamb, hit or miss wide receivers. Pitts, he's got to grow into his role and start showing some of the potential that he had to be such an early draft pick. Diggs should absolutely blow up. Look for about 3 or 4 touchdowns from him on Sunday night as the Bills trounce Kansas City 55-34. Tennessee against Jacksonville might be a decent play on the defensive end. And Bass against Kansas City, he should have ample opportunity, but he may get more extra points than you want as the Bills have no problem scoring. The other side here, Giants will continue. Cousins, Detroit, that might inflate him a little bit. Adams, great wide receiver. Renfro, he's a possession guy, doesn't necessarily find the end zone a lot. I don't know that the Bears are going to need to worry about him so much because they might get run all over, and Carr might be thrown to some of the other wide receivers. Moss, he could have a huge game against the Chiefs. It just depends which Bills are going to get the points. Gainwell, I mean, Schultz, he's doing pretty well. Maybe he'll be another favorite target in this week for a touchdown. Samuel, if Lance is the quarterback, I don't know that I would really bank on him doing as well. Even though we kind of make fun of Garoppolo, at least he's got a level of competence and experience and accuracy and performance. That Bills defense might not do very well against Kansas City, but they have thrown 2 shutouts this year. I expect them to get some turnovers, but still give up plenty of points. Crosby should have ample opportunity. Benches, a lot of injuries kind of across the board here on both benches. I don't know that there's anybody here that would be subbed in. I don't know. If you've got 3 quarterbacks on your fantasy roster, you've got none. It's kind of like a real-life statement as well. I don't like the Killer Penguins all that much in this matchup. I'm going to go with Giants will continue, mainly because I think some of these unexpected guys like Moss and Renfro, and maybe even Cousins, will outperform the folks on the Killer Penguins end, while guys like Eckler and Robinson probably get shut down. Go with the Giants. They will continue the losing tendencies of Killer Penguins in 2021. Matchup number 4, pretty intriguing one between Operation Doomsday and the Padawans. Doomsday has underperformed a little bit, but they still have a very solid lineup. Padawans still might be the most dangerous team in our league. Lamar Jackson against the Colts. That might be tough. The Colts seem to have a pretty stout defense from time to time, and they've got linebackers and players who can potentially keep Jackson from breaking the big runs. Tyreek Hill, probably a good bet to score. I don't know if he's going to get 3 touchdowns, though, but Mahomes is going to have to throw like crazy, so there is a chance. Davis, the Jets, no. Kamara against Washington. The football team's got a pretty good defense, but they've underperformed badly. Don't know what's going to go on there in the battle of the running backs. I would not bet on a lot of points being scored, though, in that game for underperforming offenses with inconsistent quarterback play. Waller, great target, should be a big factor for the Raiders. Swift, he's with the Lions, enough said. Blankenship, still a factor to get some opportunities. Baltimore's defense hasn't shown itself to be much special. 49ers defense could show up, but I think Kyler Murray at home will probably carve them up. And that's bad news because the Padawans have Kyler Murray. This matchup here might be the deciding factor. If the defense shuts down Murray, Erica and the Padawans shall be demoted to pollywogs, and Operation Doomsday could rise up, but I don't think that that's in the cards. Murray has just looked too good, and San Francisco is a bit inconsistent. Godwin and Jones, they're going to get targets, but will they get the lion's share of the targets? Edwards-Helaire has kind of peaked up a little bit after getting ridiculed for a couple of really bad fumbles and performances. Buffalo's defense, though, I think will shut him down without much problem. Henderson on a short week on the road, I wouldn't give him much opportunity. Kelsey could be a big factor. He was a little bit quiet last week. Andrews could also be a big factor. Tampa's defense, though, on a rebound week against the Woeful Dolphins, that's definitely a good matchup. Anything on the benches to think about or could talk about? I mean, there's lots of decent guys here. Cephas been picking it up in Detroit. Nice roster grab for him. Knox has kind of been making plays. That might be an interesting swap in maybe in place of Swift. If believe me, Ben Neiman's not going to cover tight ends well. Neither is Daniel Sorensen. Maybe throw Knox in there for some points. Don't let Swift sink you in that way. The other Murray who plays running back, I think Padawans have about the best lineup they've got set here. I might think about putting one of the other running backs in for Edwards-Helaire. All that to say, though, I think the Colts are going to do a better job on Lamar Jackson than people realize, and Murray is going to continue the undefeated ways of the Cardinals. Let's throw it to the Padawans to continue rolling over another disappointing loss for Doomsday. Matchup 5, Pipe Hitters 2, Putin on the Ritz. Putin on the Ritz is basically the Vanderbilt or University of Kansas, he claims, in our league, yet he probably has more wins than either of those teams will finish with by the end of the year, given the state of things. Josh Allen, this is a guy who's going to blow up for 40 or 50 points this week. Bank on it. The Chiefs have no shot at stopping him. Keenan Allen should be a very good play against the Cleveland Clowns. Emmanuel Sanders, look for him to get a couple of touchdowns from Josh Allen as he burns by the just terrible Chiefs defense. Sanders against Carolina, I don't like much there. Connor, probably, maybe he gets a lucky touchdown. Otherwise, he'll be kind of a non-factor. Ertz is well past his prime. Hardman might get some opportunities, but he always disappoints. Butker should get some field goals. Baltimore's defense should be very stout. Pipe Hitters 2, Stafford against Seattle on a short week on the road. I don't like short week games. Those are always unpredictable, and usually someone doesn't perform well, especially as you get later into the season. I think the Rams are looking for a lot of revenge after the last week and will be hungry, but there's just no way that Stafford's going to outperform Josh Allen. McLaurin doing very well, though the Heineke, will he get him the ball enough against a quite just bizarre New Orleans team? Don't know. Woods, again, short week. I don't like that. Henry at running back against the Jags. He's going to be a huge focal point. Maybe he'll truck Miles Jack and company and just send Urban Meyer home with his family where he needs to make some amends. Anyway, Harris, I don't trust the Patriots running backs. Brait, he's still kind of a second fiddle guy, even if he's filling in for Gronk. I don't know that Brady's got much chemistry going there. Aguilar, I've never really cared for him. Sanders as a kicker, he might get the only points for Miami, and that might only be one field goal. Not a good-looking play there. Green Bay's defense, Burrow will probably do pretty well. I'm not sure that there's a lot of points to be gained there. The benches have kind of a lot of elder statesmen and potential guys. You might want to throw Singletary in if your pipe hitters. Play anyone and everyone against the Chiefs every week. That should be a staple rule here. Ingram might be a decent play against the Patriots. I might think about that. Yeah. I'm going to go in a surprising upset of Putin on the Ritz. There's no way Josh Allen's only getting 21.5 points. He's going to put up minimally 35 points, maybe 50 points. This is a big week for Josh Allen. Putin on the Ritz is not going to put off the Ritz this week. Very good win for Putin. Final matchup, Running on Empty and the Von Stars. We'll call this our game of the week, the best matchup between the two best teams in this one. And Yahoo thinks it's going to be a bit of a, big-time favorite runaway for Running on Empty. Will that be the case? I'm not quite so sure. Cleveland's defense has got some great pass rushers and will definitely put the pressure on Herbert, but Herbert is pretty darn good. Kupp on a short week, again, exhaustion. He's been a big focal point, may get slowed down. Playing on the road in a very loud stadium, hard to see what happens there. Moore for Carolina. Again, Sam Darnold and the Panthers have done pretty well, but the Panthers have really done a better job running the football with Darnold into the end zone than just about anything else. I don't know that Moore is going to be a big factor. A lot of questionable guys here at running back and tight end. Elliott should run wild over the Giants if he's in. Jones, I still don't trust Packers running backs because that just seems like it's the Aaron Rodgers show and the running back is second fiddle. Boyd might be a good play against Green Bay as Burrow looks to throw it around against Rodgers and what might be a a shootout type of game. Joseph, kind of an unknown man in Minnesota, and the Dallas defense, if they can't blow away the Giants and just smash them on the ground and run over them to endless effect, the Cowboys will be the most disappointing thing in the world if they don't beat the Giants this week. Wilson at home on a short week against the Rams. That's, generally a more favorable thing for the home team, but the Rams are a tough defense and they just got embarrassed. I don't know that Wilson's going to have a big points explosion for the Von Stars. Cooper is a questionable person with injury at the moment. Don't know if he's going to play. Be great if he did, but someone in Dallas is going to get points. If Elliott and Cooper both missed, then CeeDee Lamb might help the Penguins out more than I think. Lockett, again, against the Rams. Who's Ramsey covering? How's the defense going to contain that? Either Metcalf or Lockett will be the focal point. I don't know which one it's going to be, but my money is on a lesser performance from the Seahawks. Maybe a lower scoring game. Taylor should be a great play at running back. Should run very well and put some pain on Baltimore. Davis against the Jets might be a good play. The Jets are lucky to get wins, lucky to have any kind of great play. Maybe this is their week to defeat Atlanta, but Davis might be a good play. Fant against Pittsburgh might be a pretty good play. Just depends on quarterback. McCaffrey, he's been so injuried the last season and a quarter to this point that I don't know that I trust him to play a full game. Panthers desperately need him to. Philly is bad. If he is healthy, he should run like crazy. The problem is he just hasn't been healthy and hasn't been able to do that. Koo should have lots of opportunities. Denver's defense, again, I don't necessarily trust Vic Fangio to be competent. Maybe Big Ben has a revenge game. And look at the bench. Look at all the red letters for the Von Stars. Not a lot of options to sub in there. Maybe needs to drop some guys and make some adjustments. Beckham, maybe you might want to consider throwing him into the lineup ahead of someone like Boyd, or in the event Moore may not be that exciting a play with Sam Darnold throwing the ball. Maybe throw Beckham in there. Robinson kind of downgraded if Fields gets clobbered in the backfield and sacked a million times. Fournette may be a great play this week against Miami. That might be a good swap in for Elliott or Jones if they can't go and get more points than you realize. Again, a couple of injuries here. Not a lot more to write home about. I think running on empty is going to run away with this one, in agreement with Yahoo. Even though Von Stars have a lot of talent, I don't like the matchups, and I think empty just has a full bench of options that will keep them from truly stalling on the highway while the Von Stars kind of get hip thrust off into the Pacific Ocean because Vic Fangio is Vic Fangio. So running on empty, you are not. You're going to the finish line. With that, we'll take a quick look at our league pick'em and make sure all the picks are in. There they are. There's your summary. Kind of split between favorite and underdog this week, but a lot of injuries are going to start impacting teams. Your depth is very important. The free agent market is very bare. You got to pay a lot of attention and make the right pickups, or you might be sunk as the year goes on. Best of luck to everyone. Remember, welcome to the win. Your event to bet your life savings on for maximum payout is the Chariot Chariots, as Walter absolutely obliterates the Commish, who might have the worst week of anyone this week. Thumbs up for Chariot Chariots. Welcome to the win. WttW, as always. Good luck, everybody, in week 5, and we will see you probably not next week because of travel issues I've got to deal with. So just quick picks next week, no video. Thanks, everybody.